Top 10 affordable fragrances that are perfect for the fall and winter. Of course, with the colder weather nearly upon us, depending on where you live, of course, it's an idea to start wearing some of these heavier fragrances, perhaps fragrances possessing ingredients like woods and smokes and resins, and you know the deal, or you catch the drift when it comes to some of these heavier leaning offerings. I'm going to be talking to you about 10 affordable options that I think are fantastic for this time of the year, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on these 10 affordable options, really good fragrances, a lot of these are unisex, some of them are masculine leaning, but I'll talk to you all about them as soon as I reveal them, and they're all fantastic for the fall and winter. I want to start the video off first by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance related content, and of course, if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit the bell, give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So, of course, a lot of us don't have a ton of money to spend on eau de toilettes and eau de parfum. We just want to buy something that is affordable, something that's not going to break the proverbial bank, but also something with lasting power, something that puts us in the mindset of fall and winter. Of course, these are not freshy, aquatic, citrusy fragrances. No, these are all heavier fragrances with incense and smoke and resins. Not all of them, but I'll go ahead and reveal what the notes are as I talk about each one of these fragrances. I'll also do my best to comment on the longevity of each one. So the first one by Latafa, this one is called Kamra Kahwa. Now this one is a beautiful vanilla, tonka bean, honey, coffee type of a fragrance. Of course, it does get compared to Angel Share by Kilian Paris. The original Kamra, sure. This one, on the other hand, not really. That added coffee ingredient in here. It also does have some boozy tendencies, which I really enjoy, but this one is so good for the fall and winter. And honestly, maybe in hindsight, I should have put this in the #1 spot. This one I perfectly really enjoy. I mean, I really do love this one. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a matter of personal preference, right? So just because I love this one, I tried to be a little objective in curating this list. I think I arranged them in order of versatility, if I'm being honest with you. So you'll see that the fragrance in the #1 spot is incredibly versatile. Let's also talk about That Girl by Okja. That Girl Viral Vanilla. So this fragrance, I know, is a clone, if I'm not mistaken, because in my opinion it smells remarkably similar to Bianco Latte by Giardini di Toscana. But this fragrance, it's sweet, it's milky, it's lactonic, you have this caramel ingredient happening in here. Very smooth. If you're a fan of gourmand fragrances, this is one that you need to prioritize for the fall and winter. And of course, both of these are pretty sweet, and so if you have a sweet tooth, I would suggest checking out these two. Of course, this next one is also sweet as well. There's sugar cane. It's a very sugary fragrance. And this one is called Artisan Ethnique by Latafa. Really cool presentation on this one as well. You have the Latafa logo on the cap, pretty light cap, but the bottle itself is pretty heavy. And you do have this really interesting artwork here on the front. It looks like something that AI would generate. I don't really know what it is, if I'm being totally honest with you, but this fragrance, no pressurized atomizer, that's all right. Very sugary, very sweet. I think it's inspired by a fragrance from the brand BTSO, if I'm not mistaken. I did look it up earlier, and I don't have the original after which this is modeled or inspired, but I can tell you this is a very sweet, sugary type of a fragrance. Yeah, there's a lot of sweet fragrances here. We also have Rayon Elixir. So this is the brand's take on Le Male Elixir. It's in the name, Rayon Elixir. Le Male Elixir by Jean Paul Gaultier. So hay, tobacco, resins. It's a bit on the dark side of things, and it does smell very close to the Jean Paul Gaultier that I alluded to. So this one with the gold and black aesthetic, and of course elixir being in the name, it puts you in the mindset of that fragrance right away, and it does come pretty close, so I have to be honest with you. Performance on it is about 8 hours on skin, and the Le Male gives me comparable performance. On a good day, I get like 10 hours, so it's negligible. We also have by Aynash, Royal Noir Absolu. So we actually have two fragrances from Aynash on this list. I know it looks like a Xerjoff presentation. This is their take on Absolu Aventus by Creed. So you have that spicy pineapple, right? So this one is very well done. I put a dent in this one. Let's find the line of symmetry. So I wore about 45% of it. So this is one that I definitely have to get another bottle soon, but I love this one. It's so easy to wear. incredibly versatile, so easy to pull off as well. And this could also be the #1 fragrance on this list if we're talking versatility. I just know a lot of people out there prefer the original Aventus over Absolute Aventus, hence the reason why this one is a bit further down on the list. Also, Casino Royale by the Dior brand. This is one that's been selling really well for many years. There have been so many hybrids and flankers, and the brand has put out so many iterations of this fragrance. If you like that Baccarat Rouge 540 by Maison Francis Kurkdjian DNA, this is definitely one that you have to check out. We also have, so this one, you know, if you are a fan of that Angel Share DNA, of course, this one is quite different with the coffee and all of these other beautiful, gorgeous praline, sweet ingredients in there. Well, you can try Intoxicate by Lafed. So this one is really affordable. Last time I checked, you can find this for a really good price. This is more of that cinnamon apple pie. This one comes very close to Angel's Share, and that's exactly what it's intended to be, as if you couldn't already tell by simply just looking at the presentation. In the #3 spot, so this is the other Einache fragrance that I was talking to you about. I very much prefer these bottles because they look original, and this one is called Indomitable Spirit. Now, this fragrance is inspired by Paragon by Initio Parfum Privé. So we're talking plum, incense, Palo Santo, resins, it's balsamic, it is also really long lasting. I think there's also like a clary sage ingredient in here, but this one is so perfect for the fall and winter. I always said, you know, Paragon and Rehab, Side Effect, Narcotic Delight, those are some of the best Initio fragrances for the fall and winter. And so, you know, well, the brand does produce a lot of really good fragrances for the cold weather period, but Indomitable Spirit being a Paragon dupe, as it were, I think it's one of the best affordable fragrances that you can get for this time of the year. In the #2 spot, I'm going to talk about this one because it's brand new, and if you're going to buy it at any time, now is the time to do it. The Centaur Constellation by the Dior brand. This is their interpretation of Centaurus by Creed. Nobody else has cloned it. Nobody else has an inspiration or an alternative on the market. Creed are the first brand to do it, and it smells very close to the original. Cinnamon, amber, it's a little smoky, it's dark, and it's more masculine leaning. The other one, which is Delphinus, is a bit more unisex, maybe even a tad feminine according to some people if you find floral ingredients to be feminine leaning, because it does contain iris flower. But this one is fantastic, and the fact that they have already put out a clone of Centaurus, I think, is really impressive to say the least. And the fragrance in the #1 spot, as you can tell by looking at this list, we have a lot of unisex fragrances, right? Unisex, unisex, unisex. All three of these are unisex. We see a couple of these are masculine leaning. The fragrance in the #1 spot is masculine leaning. So this one is inspired by a really popular designer fragrance that sells for well over $100. The designer fragrance to which I am alluding opens up very spicy with nutmeg and licorice. You have some aromatic ingredients, you have lavender. However, it's kind of hard to recommend for the simple fact that it can be a little overly spicy in the opening, and I know some people are not a fan of it. This one makes that opening a bit more on the smooth side of things, which I respect, but this one is so affordable, so easy to wear. The lasting power is there, so the longevity is comparable to the original. And of course, I am talking about Dior Sauvage Elixir. Instead of that, you can get by Kadlaj, it's called Gaïth. This fragrance comes so close to Sauvage Elixir, except it takes away the harshness of the spices in the opening, right? It seems like everybody has some kind of gripe or beef with Sauvage. The Eau de Toilette is too metallic, the Elixir is too spicy. We're always complaining, we're never happy, we never get what we want. But if I'm being honest with you, this fragrance definitely has that spicy introduction, but not as abrasive, not as coarse, I would say. Gaïth by Kadlaj is very, very good. So thank you so much for watching. 10 affordable options that are perfect for the fall and winter. Do you own any of these? Are you interested in picking up any of these? Drop your comment down below. I always love hearing from you. I love the interaction. And of course, if you took anything of value from today's episode, I would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and giving this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. Thank you again so much for joining me. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.